All right, here on Geek to Me Radio, we are joined by Tovah Feldshuh, who's in town for an event in St. Louis, and she was gracious enough to take a few minutes out of her schedule to speak with us. Thank you very much for taking the time to talk to us.
My pleasure, James.
So let me start by asking you what I normally ask celebrities who are involved in a genre like The Walking Dead that you've done. Were you familiar with the source material, or were you a fan of the show before you were brought in to be Deanna?
I was not familiar with the series at all. As I told Scott Gimple, who is the showrunner and a genius, I said, Mr. Gimple, I'm close enough to death that I don't have to watch The Walking Dead.
And
I did not watch it. I was very happy to be offered, the head of Alexandria. I was in the Galapagos Islands in a crater, and I got a call from my secretary from New York saying, I think you got an offer. He's from the South. And and then I spoke to Scott Gimple from the ship, and we talked about the role and whether it would interest me. And I said, sounds good. So I landed in Cartagena, Colombia, after the tour of the Galapagos with Lindblad, and they flew me from Cartagena to Atlanta, Georgia. And as you know, we shoot in the countryside of Atlanta, not in Atlanta proper.
Right, exactly. Yeah, that's and there's a lot of stuff being shot in Atlanta. A friend of mine who does travel writing actually took a tour of all the Walking Dead hotspots, because the Alexandria is the walled off. It's actually a real subdivision. People actually live there. A lot of people don't know that.
It's very elegant. It was wonderful because when you would take your lunch break, you literally went into a bedroom and went on a bed and went to sleep, because the place was, furnished for the upper middle class. It was very lovely.
Yeah,
really.
It's a fantastic set that you got to work with. With the character you have in the comic books, it's actually a male is the head, and so they kind of swapped the roles of you, and it ended up being your husband, who was the architect of Alexandria. Did they talk to you any bit about how that you were kind of taking on that role, how they're switching the genders? Did they mention that to you at all, or did it not even come up?
They said it was based on an original character called Douglas Monroe, but that my character was different than his. And, of course, I didn't make an incompetent decision and shoot. I think he shoots or hurts Carl. And,
yes.
I certainly didn't.
No.
My character came in like a stateswoman and left like a samurai. I was very, very satisfied with spending a year down at the Atlanta area commuting and doing seasons 5 and 6. It was a thrill.
And you really had a very good death, I guess they'd say. The way they ended your character was a really strong, solid ending. You just, with that, it was the music playing over you as you let out that primal scream against the zombies that were in your house. What an extraordinary performance.
Thank you very much. That primal scream was an improvisation. We were on take 2, and I just came out of me like an animal that had been shot. And the whole set went green. And they said, could we try another? I said, we can try another, but I believe that's your money shot. And it was.
Yeah, I mean,
they kept.
I always love stories like that, too, that you find out after the fact that was actually an improv moment. Some of the best moments in TV and movies are exactly like that.
Right, because they're born of the truth of the moment. And they can't be scripted. They're beyond language. So it was very lucky. The people I worked with were busy being excellent. They're just extraordinary bunch. They really, it's one thing to get up there into number one. It's another thing to stay up there. And they really took their work so seriously. As far as they were concerned, they were doing a feature film. They were doing a feature film every week. They gave it tremendous care. And
it beats some of the feature films you'll see out there. I think there's a reason, as you said, the reason Walking Dead is number one a lot of the times in the ratings, beating out even Sunday Night Football, because it is such an extraordinary series.
It's an unbelievable series. The special effects, the cinematography, and I'm lucky to be doing that, and I'm lucky to be in the St. Louis area to having sung at the Gaslight Theater, which is a marvelous 99-seat, cannot stop the charm space that invites cabaret artists under the umbrella of Jim Dolan, who runs the establishment, to come to St. Louis and perform.
And you've done so much stage work, too. You're a lot of people don't know this. You're nominated for 4 Tony Awards. You've no stranger to the stage at all.
Thank you. And 2 Emmys. Yay.
Yes, Primetime Emmy, exactly. That's quite an accomplishment from everything you've, just what an extraordinary career you've had. Can we see you back in St. Louis at some point? Are you expecting to come back to us?
Well, the last time I was here, I did Peter Pan at the Muni. And then recently, as you know, I got to do Aging is Optional, because God, I hope it is. And I'm just putting together a new act that should be ready in 2017, so we'll see if Jim Dolan wants to invite me back. But I would be very happy to return.
Good. Yeah, St.
And
Louis.
And I might add, and to return to the fantasy comic book shop, where I just had spent an afternoon that was extraordinary. What a wonderful place.
Yeah, they're actually one of our show sponsors. You had quite the line. You're obviously a very popular lady.
I was very pleased indeed. And one other thing, James, I'm so thrilled to be returning to my hometown, New York City, on Sunday, December 11th at 3 and 7 to do Golda's Balcony by William Gibson, who also wrote The Miracle Worker. And I'm going to be bringing that play, which was the biggest hit of my Broadway career, to New York City for 950 people a show. So there are still tickets. Since we're doing it for 2,000 people, there are still tickets to the Broadway show, Golda's Balcony, at the Skirball Center, Lowenstein Theater, 65th and 5th Avenue at 3 and 7, December 11th, 2016.
Perfect, and we'll make sure to plug that on our website as well. Well, I want to keep you. I know you're on your way to get ready for your gig tonight down at the Gaslight. Tovah Feldshuh, thank you so much for being on the show with us.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me, James, and all the best.
Thank you. You too.